The rain had been falling since morning. It wasn't the wild kind that came with thunder or wind, just the steady rhythm that wrapped the whole town in grey, like a blanket you didn't ask for but ended up needing. By night, the whole street looked blurred, like someone had taken a wet brush to the edges of every house. Porch lights glowed behind curtains. Plastic pumpkins flickered through fog. And under it all, the soft, endless rhythm of October. He lived alone, Daniel Kerrigan, 37, insurance adjuster, the kind of man who kept track of small things and forgot the big ones. He hadn't planned on doing anything for Halloween this year, but that changed around 8:30 p.m., right after the second cup of coffee, right after he decided the night was safely uneventful. Because that's when someone knocked. Not loud, not impatient, just there. 3 soft raps against the door. He glanced up from his paperwork, frowning. No one ever knocked on Halloween night this late. The neighborhood was quiet, too old for trick-or-treaters, too polite for drop-ins. He stood, sighed, and walked toward the front door. The sound of rain filled the pauses between each step. When he opened it, there was no one. Just the smell of wet leaves, the quiet hiss of rain, and something small at his feet. A mask. White. Smooth. With a grin carved into it that looked more painted on than sculpted. The smile curved too wide, the teeth too even. He picked it up. The surface was slick with rain. Cold. No note. No packaging. Just the mask, and that grin. He turned it over. The inside was damp, but clean. It shouldn't have felt heavy, but it did. He stepped back inside, shut the door, and set it on the counter. For a while, he just looked at it. Then, shaking his head, he muttered, "Some kid must have dropped it." But the grin didn't look like something a kid would drop. It looked like something someone left behind. That night, he couldn't sleep. The rain got heavier, beating softly against the windows. He turned on the TV, muted it, and let the flicker fill the room. Every time he glanced toward the kitchen, he could see it. The mask, on the counter, lit in flashes from the television. That grin, it seemed wider in the dark. He told himself it was nothing. Just the shape of the shadows. The angle. The storm. But around midnight, when the power flickered, the screen went black, and for half a second, he thought he saw a reflection. Not of himself, but of someone standing behind him. He turned. Nothing. Just rain. Just silence. And the mask, still sitting there, facing the door. The next morning, it was gone. He searched the counter, the floor, the hallway. He even checked the garbage, wondering if he'd thrown it out half asleep. Nothing. Fine. Maybe it was a trick, some local kids having fun. He'd seen the news stories, porch pranks, Halloween hijinks. But that night, at 8:30 sharp, 3 knocks. He froze. The same rhythm, the same sound, the same quiet between them. When he opened the door, there it was again. The mask. Same grin. Same place. Only this time, there was mud on it. And something new, a faint, wet footprint on the welcome mat. He stepped outside, looking up and down the street. No one. Just rain and silence. He crouched, picked up the mask, and whispered, "This isn't funny." His voice didn't echo. It just disappeared into the rain. He dropped it into the trash can outside, slammed the lid, and locked the door. That night, the sound came again. Not a knock this time. A scrape. Like something brushing against the window. Once. Twice. Then gone. He didn't move. Didn't breathe. But when he looked toward the kitchen window, the reflection caught it, the curve of a smile, pressed faintly against the glass. He didn't sleep after that. He called in sick the next morning. Sat by the door with coffee, watching rain crawl down the glass. The world felt smaller, as if the house had inhaled and forgotten how to exhale. By evening, he was exhausted. He turned on the porch light, just to feel like the outside world still existed. That's when he saw it. The trash can. The lid was open, empty, and sitting neatly in front of the door, on the mat, was the mask. This time, the grin was different. It wasn't painted anymore. It was carved. Jagged, deeper, the mouth open wide, as if the mask had reshaped itself into something hungrier. The rain was heavier now, pounding, unending. He whispered, "Who's doing this?" And then it came again. Knock. Knock. He stepped back. The sound wasn't from the door. It was from the window. He turned slowly, heart pounding. Through the blur of rain and glass, a shape. Still. Facing him. Head tilted. The mask's grin gleamed in the lightning. He grabbed his phone, dialed, but the screen flickered, froze, then went black. The house hummed. Lights flickered. And beneath it all, the soft, hollow sound of someone breathing. Inside. He moved toward the sound, slowly, quietly. The living room was dark except for the occasional flash of lightning. Something wet dripped on the floor. He looked down. Footprints. Bara. Muddy. Leading from the door to the hallway. And there, at the end of it, something white. The mask, lying face up. The grin stretched to the edges now, carved so deep the cheeks had split. He reached for it, but the moment his fingers touched it, the lights went out completely. The darkness swallowed everything. Then, knock. Once. Then again. Twice. From behind him. He turned. No one. Only the sound of rain. And the faintest whisper, "Smile." They found the door open the next morning. Rainwater pooled across the floor. The coffee cup sat cold on the counter. The papers untouched. No sign of Daniel Kerrigan. Only the mask, back on the porch. Smiling. Still wet. And beneath it, carved into the wood, the smile that knocked twice. The rain hasn't stopped since. Some nights, it sounds like someone knocking, softly, politely, just twice. People say it's the wind. Or maybe kids. But the thing about smiles is, once you see one where it shouldn't be, you start to wonder if it ever left. You're listening to Bloody Chapter. Stories that haunt the mind long after the sound fades. Like, share, and listen again, if the rain lets you.